Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Wealth Builders webinar. I'm so excited that you are joining us. My name is Karen Conrad. I'm the Vice President of Wealth Builders, and on behalf of Billy and Becky Epperhart, I just want to thank you so much for being a part of all that is happening at Wealth Builders. And we're just really encouraged by all of you and really seeing the fruit of what was in Billy and Becky's heart. And tonight is one of those examples. We've been doing some free webinars to help encourage you. And I have got one of our wonderful real estate coaches on with us tonight, Mike Davis. And so, Mike, can you say hi to everybody?
Hello, everybody. And Karen, I'm excited to hear your teaching on how to grow your business. I think it's going to be really helpful to everyone.
Thank you so much, Mike. Yeah, we are very excited about the business workshop that we have coming up on August 19th through the 21st. And I'm sure many of you have listened to Billy for a while, and he talks about the different revenue streams, the different ways to make money that helps fulfill making sense of making money for making a difference. And in that too, as he talks about the triple X, which is just really a revelation from God, in my opinion. Mike, you probably feel that way too.
Absolutely. It's awesome. It really is.
He really helps us to understand what it means to move from that place where, we collect a paycheck and we make money, we work on paying off our debts, to the second X, which is really passive income, where we're not reliant on our paycheck. And then the third X, where we are really out of the abundance of that passive income, we are able to invest in the kingdom and make a difference. And I'll tell you what, before I met Billy and Becky, I didn't even really know that there was a second X or a third X. And so much of what they have poured into us just helps us to understand and expand the way that we think. And Billy and Becky talk about making money through real estate, making money through business, and then making money through investing. And so one of the key things that we work on as far as really impacting the world around us, many of you have heard Lance Wellno's teaching on the 7 mountains. And one of the things that he shares is that a lot of it revolves around the business mountain, because that's where income is generated. And so as Christians, we want to understand how this works. And for us to have a viable business, we need to make a profit. And to make a profit, we need to understand and expand our revenue streams. So what I'm going to be sharing on tonight is how to grow your business. And we have, a limited period of time. So I'm going to give you as much content as I can. And specifically, I'm going to help you identify 6 revenue streams that you should look at adding in your business. And so I'll be taking you through a foundation regarding the revenue streams. I'm also going to mainly help you to look at your situation, whether you're a nonprofit, a for-profit business, an entrepreneur, or even a real estate investor, how to identify the revenue streams that work for you. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. And bear with me just a moment. I'm going to just clear my screen up here a little bit. We're going to start with the foundation on how to identify your revenue streams. I also just want to let you know that this is an interactive webinar. And what that means is that we take questions throughout the webinar. And at the end, I'll save about 10 to 15 minutes to answer. Mike and I will answer as many questions as possible. So when we look at our business, we really want to identify, or a ministry, nonprofit, works across the board. We want to learn how to identify the current revenue streams and the potential revenue streams. And we want to start with a foundation with that. And that is the business model canvas. I do a lot of consulting. I work with a lot of businesses and nonprofits that come to Wealth Builders, and they want to move their business, their nonprofit, to the next level. And when we do that, we have to understand enough about the business. It's not like some things where, real estate is a little bit more, while you have variances, you have rules in real estate that you can apply to any real estate. There are some of those things in businesses, but when you think about the variety of businesses, when you think about the different expertise that is needed in different businesses, it's actually much more complex to get to the bottom of the revenue streams and how to add it than it is in an area like, say, real estate. So we start with the business model canvas, and many of you have heard Billy teach on this. I want to let you know he's going to be teaching at length on this at the upcoming business workshop. So I'm just going to touch on some key things to give you a foundation as we work through and we really get to those revenue streams. So there are two sides of the canvas. This side is more of that marketing side or the revenue generating side. And this side of the canvas is really more about the operations or maybe the non-revenue side. And you need both to be able to get a full picture. But for purposes of what I'm talking about tonight, I'm going to focus on the right side of the canvas. And in particular, we're going to talk about the revenue streams down here. But let me give you a little foundation and context, which is going to help you to identify in your business or nonprofit where potential revenue streams are. First of all, we've got the customer segments. This is also known as the target market. This is very important to identify your revenue streams, or maybe to bring in new revenue streams, because you have to understand who it is that you are actually targeting your marketing to, or in other words, who are you mainly serving with your business? Then we go over here to customer relationships, and for each customer segment, and by the way, any business has multiple customer segments. Then we want to identify how that customer segment really wants us to relate to them. So one of the best ways for me to explain things to you is really to teach out of my own business. Okay. So I have multiple businesses, and I'm going to be sharing with you some insight because I actually went through this process in one of my main businesses to help build revenue streams myself. So when you think about your customer segments, let me just give you a quick example. When I am in home staging, that's one of the things I do in real estate. I had multiple customer segments, but the main two that I worked from are real estate agents and then homeowners that are selling their house. And so when you look at your business, I want you to think about who it is that you actually serve. And in that case, it's going to be maybe that end user, right? So ultimately, every person that I would stage for is selling their house. However, what I learned, and this is a question for you to answer in your business, is where is that key person or key group of people that actually is a stepping stone to get to your business? So we want to definitely identify what I call B2C. That's a common term, business, your business to consumer. But where a lot of times your best opportunity is more of that B2B, B2C. And in home staging, for example, I needed to recognize and understand that most of my business was going to come from referrals from real estate agents. Okay. And in that, I couldn't treat the customer relationships of each of those the same. For example, the person, the consumer that I was going in to help stage their home to sell, they were looking for someone that would help them get to the next place in their life. Maybe someone that was caring during a very stressful time for them, someone that would come into their home and not make them feel like, bad that things didn't look right, but actually help them along the process. So that's what they were expecting from me. And that was the value that I wanted to build to bring them. My other customer segment with a real estate agent, while the goal was definitely to stage the home to help the consumer to sell the home to move on to the next part, what was really most important for that real estate agent was to get that home sold quickly and really without hassle. And so in that, I had to deliver a different value proposition to my unique customer segment. So I know I'm going through this really quickly, but I just want to lay a quick foundation. And I assure you we'll be unpacking this much, much more in the weekend to come. Then I want to touch really quick here on channels, because that is how you deliver your product or service. And when I work with organizations, there oftentimes are revenue streams available simply by adding a channel. And I'll be going into more detail on that. And then from all of this, we identify the current revenue streams and the potential revenue streams. This is just an example of a completed business model canvas that I did for a nonprofit. And I'm not going to be going through this. It's too much information to share in this short period of time. But I want you to get your eyes on what this looks like and really what a great tool this is to help you to understand your business. It's like a one-page business plan. And then down here, from the discussion that I just briefly went over with you, we were able to identify not only current revenue streams, but do you see this? We are able to identify future revenue streams based on our discussion. This is the value proposition template, and I'm just introducing this to you as well, because as you go through and you identify revenue streams, it's really important that you understand what you're actually delivering to a customer or potential customer or donor if you're a nonprofit. And then also for internal purposes, or sometimes just for our purposes as a leader, we need to understand how we differ from the competition. So this is a template that we use. And again, you'll learn more about this, but I just wanted to introduce it to you. So here's a question: as you are building your business or your nonprofit, and you're saying, Karen, I need more revenue. Amen. I think we all could use more revenue, because then we're able to do more for the kingdom, or we're able to bless the people, our families, and the people that work for us. So the first question that you want to ask as you start to jot information down is, what are my current revenue streams? And when we identify our current revenue streams, I like to take you through this tool that helps you understand like the lifeline of your revenue streams. One of the things that I learned in banking, it was so helpful, and I actually incorporated this too with my team at Andrew Womack Ministries, and even we talk about it at Wealth Builders, is, what are we doing that we need to stop doing to make room for the things that we should be doing that we don't have capacity for? And this tool is something that as you go in and look at revenue streams, it kind of disciplines us to plot where those different revenue streams are, and maybe clear out some of the things that don't have a future or are not working, to enlarge your capacity for those new revenue streams, or maybe your most profitable revenue streams, to make sure that you understand what's happening and what the potential is for your business. So if I take you back to an example for me personally, I'll just share with you some things from the home staging, and then I'll be talking about my marketing agency. I'll be talking about Wealth Builders too, just to give you a lot of real life perspective. But if we go back to the home staging, my only revenue stream initially was staging homes. And that's good in a way, it's like, yep, great. I'm going out there and staging homes and I'm collecting money for that. But what I'm going to be teaching you tonight is a way of thinking that is different, meaning I want you to analyze what you are doing in your business. And I'm hoping that this will spur you to think about the time you're putting into your business, and what in that time or that focus you are going to be able to leverage to create additional revenue streams. So when I started out, my only revenue stream was staging homes. And you know what? It's a lot of work to stage homes, and you have to store furniture. And I worked out the model as far as the profitability, but I started thinking, and maybe some of you are thinking this yourself, is like, what? I am working so hard, but really to make so little. And so it got me thinking, what can I do within the context of staging homes that will produce additional revenue streams? Right. And I think some of you, hopefully the wheels are already turning. You're like, oh yeah, that's a great way to look at things. And for me, it was almost survival, but it actually helped me to take this, like I do it all the time with businesses I work with. I work with several ministries. It's a mindset that we are going to be looking at that's going to help you to build those revenue streams. So what I started to realize is that, you know what, if I'm going on site, there's a lot of interest in before and afters. And a matter of fact, I've learned a lot about home staging. I've kind of taught myself some things. The Lord has showed me things. I've gotten resources that I think this might be something that people would want to learn about. So I could actually help others to get to their goal if they wanted to do home staging much faster than I did. So I started to analyze when I went to a home what I could all do with staging one home. And I'm going to give you some examples just to help you to think with your business. So one thing I realized is that if I took time, it doesn't take long to do before and after pictures, I could actually post those on social media, right? Which provided content for me to be able to get the word out about my home staging. Now, that might not be direct revenue immediately, but it led to direct revenue. Also, what I learned is that if I documented what it was I was doing, did the before and afters, and shared the story about it, or just took time to write down what it was I was trying to do or the process that I went through, I could write a book that I could sell. And so from that, as I was staging and I was collecting all this information, I did 7 seconds. So I didn't take, 2 months out of my life to go and create content for a book. I didn't have time for that, and you probably don't either. However, if I was disciplined because I thought about revenue streams when I went on site and I did the work to do the before and afters, maybe take some videos, I actually along the way was building content for my book, which led to a revenue stream. Another example is I put together training materials. I was already there staging, so why not video it? And then I got certified where I was teaching real estate professionals. And then I had an event, right? Then we had like on-site boot camps. And so that's just like one of my businesses, but it helps you to think in your business what you might be able to do. So back to this tool here, and I'm going to show you an example. When you get your team together and when you go through the BMGC and you identify what those revenue streams are currently, I would encourage you to go through this same tool and start to document the revenue streams. And in this, you're able to, this is a Wealth Builders one actually that we did. This is a real one we work on. And we identified every revenue stream currently and every potential revenue stream. And we either put it in an accelerating stage, a booming stage for the revenue stream, a decelerating, meaning it was going down, and then a tanking one. And the discipline in this, it helps you to realize, like, for example, we had something on the Kajabi platform, which was a great platform, but we realized that the limitations that had was actually too limiting for us to reach the number of people that we wanted to. So we knew, like, you know what, that is tanking. And that's one of the things that we needed to stop. And then conversely, we started thinking about things that we could do, or some of the things that we were doing that was actually giving us the biggest potential for revenue. Here's another one, and this is called the Boston Matrix. Once you take your revenue streams that you've identified in your BMGC and you have put it in the categories of accelerating, tanking, booming, from there, you do an exercise with each of those revenue streams where you plot it on this called the Boston Matrix. There's a couple reasons for it, and I want to explain those briefly to you. One of them is when you're in a position that you want to increase or build your revenue streams quickly, you need to understand where to put your resources that you are going to get maybe the biggest amount of cash first, and where you might want to put some of your resources that you've got the highest potential with, but might take some time. Now, why is this important? First of all, the things that sometimes we think are key or maybe core to our business don't necessarily always produce a revenue stream. But this also helps you to track throughout the year or into the future some of the activities that you want to focus on, or some infrastructure that you might need to really position yourself with revenue streams, both short-term and long-term. And so with this, we plotted it, and I want to show you what these mean. This is your revenue growth potential. So the higher the potential that you have with your revenue growth, that is where you want to actually put the items towards the top. This is the area down here that's going to be to get there at the shortest amount of time. And then this is going to be, of course, the longer amount of time. One of the reasons that this is so important to understand is if we need cash flow quickly, this is a great tool where you can look at this and decide, you know what, if I need to get cash in quickly, I am going to work in this space. But long term, if you know this is where you're headed towards, for example, this is something that we just rolled out with Wealth Builders Investment Group, which many of you have heard about. We had that on the radar, as we know this could be a significant part of Wealth Builders, but notice we knew it wasn't something that we could kick off right away. So we focus in here to move things forward, and then we look to here for the future. And that puts you in a really good position to be able to get your revenue streams in the right order and understand what it's going to take. So as I mentioned, I want you to ask yourself the question, what are you spending your time and resources on today that you can maximize? So here are 6 revenue stream ideas. These are questions that I want you to ask yourself and bring to your team that is going to help you to build revenue streams in your business or your organization. So number 1, what assets do you have that have revenue potential? For example, if you're looking for building revenue and you have a second home, one of the questions to ask is, my goodness, when I'm not there, is this something that I could generate revenue from, that like through a vacation rental? One of the things that we're working on right now with my organization is we've got 3 properties in Cocoa Beach, which I'm coming to you from Florida today. And one of them that we are going to go ahead and quit claim that into my business. And we are going to make it the corporate headquarters of my business. But when we are not there, I'm going to rent it out either to other corporations so that they can go and have a little retreat, or maybe an on-site, day of training, or a vacation rental. So there's ways too that when you work with our team, we've got Bill Bronchek, an attorney. We've got some amazing business coaches, experts in real estate, experts in business, that helps to walk you through legally and from an accounting standpoint, what are some things that you can and can't do. So I was with my CPA and we identified that, like that, instead of it being a liability that I just have to write a check out for the payment or for the lease every month, I want to turn that into an revenue earning asset. Here's another example. I'm just throwing some ideas out there for you to think about. Do you have equipment that you don't use all the time that you could rent out to somebody? You know, one of the things that Levi used to do is tree work, and he had a chipper, he had a stump grinder, and he would have a little additional revenue stream with those, where people that wanted to, maybe they just wanted to do that work once or twice a month and they didn't want to go purchase equipment, he would rent it to them to create a revenue stream that actually paid for his equipment. Do you have training materials that you can develop that someone else might benefit from, that you've just got sitting there as an asset in your organization? I've talked to many people that they have a car, they have a nice car, and they just put a few hours in a week in Uber or doing Lyft, something like that, that actually pays off their asset. So instead of it being something that just goes out, they're able to create a revenue stream to cover the expense and a little bit more cash flow. So, what assets do you have that have revenue potential? Number two, what expenses in team members can you leverage? So that is something that is definitely something that I do. I have a team, we have a wonderful team at Wealth Builders, and I have a team separate from that that works for my company as well. And I was looking at this and just looking at my profit and loss statement and really kind of analyzing all the time that I was putting into various things. And I was like, you know what? I have this amazing team. I wonder if I could leverage my team to actually cover the expense that I'm paying them to do my work. If that makes sense. So that's what I did. So out of that, I actually birthed a marketing agency where my team members that do my work, we do work for others as well. And in that, the salaries, almost all of the salaries of my team is covered from other people, and they're able to do my work. And so that's just been a significant change in my life. And I was just so excited about looking at things different, the way that Billy and Becky teach us, to be able to see what we have in our hand, right? And create revenue streams from that. Number three, what do you currently offer that can be leveraged through adding channels to your offering? I'm amazed that I work with a lot of nonprofits, and I'm really quite amazed at, um, I want to say, like the way things have always been done, if that makes sense. You know, we get into a mode, and I do this myself too, where we're like, well, we always do things this way. And the world sometimes has gone beyond that. So like for newsletters, I create multiple newsletters with different organizations, and that's definitely a main revenue stream. But you know what? Um, when mail comes, you know, Levi, my 28-year-old, he doesn't even open it. All right. So sometimes it's just creating a channel or a way for people to connect with you that meets their that customer segment, or the way that they actually choose to do business. Just something as simple too as we've got organizations that maybe they have donations on the web, but sometimes people don't want to put it on their credit card or their debit card. They actually would like that to come out of their bank account. Well, that's just another channel that you can open up that gives people an opportunity to be able to give. So what channel can you maybe look at? I'll give you another example just in the industry. That would be like with Coca-Cola or soda, right? So one of the main ways that people were selling soda was they would go and they would buy cans at a grocery store. Well, another channel that they have is to offer it at restaurants. You even see that like with wine companies that are looking for additional ways to be able to make revenue. They've got maybe their club, they've got maybe they go to a store, but then they also work with restaurants, all right, to be able to provide their product to a restaurant. And going back to the customer relationship and that customer segment, the value proposition that someone has as a restaurant owner, they are looking for something different than that end consumer that is purchasing. So we could go on and on about this. You can tell I'm pretty excited about this topic. I love to help businesses and organizations to grow revenue streams, but I'm hoping that this is really helping you to think about some things in your organization. All right, number 4, what do you do each day that you can create training from? Sometimes we have industry expertise that we may not realize is there that other people could benefit from. Maybe it's something that what you do every day would actually be a great college course, right? And you can create a revenue stream from teaching at a college. Or maybe it's something that one of the things that I did is I connected with Van Ed, which is an online real estate training company that I was already training things. And once I connected with them, they were able to take my training and bring it out on their platform worldwide. And now I just have a check that just shows up every month. Do I have to do anything for that? No. I did the training once, but I can lean into their platform with that training material that creates an additional revenue stream. What do you do each day that you can create a book or a product from? You know, if you do something that you know brings value to people, especially today, it doesn't take that much for you to get someone into film. Maybe you could do something that would be a webinar, like we're doing a free webinar tonight, where you could offer training courses online for it. Maybe you could write a book like I was talking about based on your industry expertise. There's a lot of different publishers out there that are interested in it, or you can just do it yourself. You can publish a book that you can get out there on Amazon. You can connect with places, maybe at your areas of work, and that's a revenue stream. And then number 6 is, what do you do each day that you can train to hold an event that you might be able to teach? I've been around a lot of organizations, a lot of ministries, and I will tell you that based on the information and the knowledge that they have, there is a risk in it. You have to watch your money. It's expensive to bring people together, but it's incredible how much can springboard from you holding an event. So if you've got a business, or maybe you have a nonprofit, or you have something to offer that you feel would have a potential for an event, in that you can create multiple revenue streams on site. Again, I know it's a lot of information that we're unpacking here, and we'll be going through all this in much more detail at the event, but it gives you a nice foundation and hopefully some excitement that what you're doing today, hopefully you're doing something that you love. You have so much potential to add revenue streams to that one core thing that you do. All right. Now what I'm going to do in just a few minutes here that we've got left with this is I want to show you a tool to take these revenue streams and start to implement, and how to lay it out that actually you start with this idea of what it is you want to produce in a revenue stream. I'm going to give you steps in a funnel that is going to help you get to the end result. And this is a tool that I use with every organization that I work with. It helps you identify what it actually is going to take to move it from an idea, right, to actually revenue coming in a very organized way. So this is what I call the conversion engine funnel template. It's something that I put together, and it's something that you can do. And so if you're even online, you'll get a copy of this webinar. You'll be able to rewatch it, or feel free to take a picture of this, because it's really going to help you as you maybe are thinking about a revenue stream that you want to start to implement. So we've got the lead generators, call to action, conversion destination, conversion engine, and then your desired result. And I'll step you through that. So some items that you want to keep in mind as you start to step through this and actually apply the revenue stream information and get it outgoing so that you've got money coming in, is this tool can be used from a macro perspective to a very small micro perspective. And this includes all channels of marketing, not just digital, but I'm going to go over a little bit more of the digital because that's so big right now. It's going to help you to locate your revenue streams and categorize them by function. And it's going to help you take inventory of all your activities that are reaching people today. And it's going to help you to define what the action items are for your customer or your target market to move it towards you having the ideal outcome. So the first thing that is a question to be answered is, what is your desired result? Where do you actually want to land? And we start there, and then we bring it back up the funnel. So let me give you a couple examples. When I'm working with a nonprofit and we talk about this, Generally, the desired result is to either increase donations or it is to build partnerships, monthly partners. Okay. So if we know that that is our goal, I'm going to put that as the target of our desired result. And I start there because I need to know and you need to know where you're going. So if we look at a different type of industry, let's just use an example of I don't know, maybe we could actually just use my home staging example. If my desired result is I want to get a staging job, right, that I get paid for, that would be my desired result. That means that I have to build a process to bring that revenue stream to reality. If you are maybe in a nonprofit and you have a building project, which is really common, your desired result is you want people to help fund your building project. Amen. All right. So that's what you want to define there. All right. So when you define your desired result, you determine what your ideal outcome is. And then you go back to that BMGC revenue stream, and you'll generally see layers in the revenue streams, which you can build into the funnels. And as I mentioned, for a ministry, it may be partnership. For a fitness studio, it may be annual membership. So with your business, what is the ideal outcome to produce the revenue stream? That goes here. And then from there, we define the value proposition so we know what the messaging is that we are going for. Okay, next, I want you to think about what your conversion engine is. And I have kind of a funny story with this because when I worked at the ministry, we knew we want partnership, right? So we were creating a bunch of messaging out there about partnership, but we didn't think about where people actually need to go to become a partner. And if you don't identify that, there's no way that your marketing can lead people to the right place. So next time, if you're looking at a newspaper or maybe even looking at digital ads, it's kind of amazing to see there's a lot of awareness about something. There might be a graphic of something that people are promoting, but the call to action as to where you actually need to drive them to be able to purchase your product, to become a partner, or to do business is not always top of mind. So recently, one of the things that we did with my organization is I have a team member that just came on board, and I said, you know what I want you to do? I want you to go to my website and I want you to go through and just see what the experience is when you go to my website, because there's several calls to action on there, but we haven't put enough thought into what we're driving people to, where they're actually able to respond to the desired result that we are going for. And I'm kind of telling on myself here, but I was pretty stunned to realize that, you know what, people were putting in messages and it wasn't going anywhere. If any of you have things like that going, you might not know about it. And so you're all going to be like tomorrow at work or with your businesses, you're going to start to assign out, like, I want you to go check out what it's like when we call. I was working with an organization, one of the people that are in one of our coaching programs here at Wealth Builders. They really want to grow their business. Okay. And I called there one day, and the call to action was if you wanted to connect with them to become a customer, they want you to talk to one person who is like the president or the leader of the organization. So I was following what I'm talking to you about. I called and I asked for that person, and they were like, oh, nope, they're busy. Oh, they're just, they're not available right now. And I could hear their voice in the background. Okay. It's like, I know they're there. But I realized in what we've been working on together is that if you have one person, or that call to action is they need to talk to you as the owner, or maybe, someone in your organization, and they're not available, guess what? Your conversion engine to achieve your desired result is not working. Just like with my forms that weren't working, if somebody wanted to get to me to find out something or purchase something, they weren't hearing from me, even though they were on the other end responding like I had asked. So it's important that you understand when you have your revenue stream, what are you asking people to do? And then test that conversion engine to make sure that it's a process that is actually bringing people all the way through to achieve your desired result. Okay, so this is just kind of recapping when I was talking about, and you'll get a copy of this PowerPoint as well. So I'll just go to the next here for time's sake. The next step that I want to do from there, or I like to do from there, is hop up and determine what my lead generators are. So that is looking at where are you spending your marketing dollars today? So a lot of us are probably doing Facebook ads. Maybe we've got our website. Maybe you're doing newspaper ads. I know we don't do a lot of those. Maybe you're doing mailers. Whatever that is, identify all the areas that you right now are spending money or time and resources to get the word out on your business. And it helps you, first of all, to understand where all the potential leads are coming from. But it also helps you to make sure that what the information is on these ads that you're spending money on are succinctly working through this to actually get to this conversion engine and to your desired result. A lot of times people put ads out there. They might have a website, which is fine, but really the way that they're going to convert somebody is to do a consultation. So in that case, instead of doing an ad that maybe is going right to the end result of a purchase, when you realize that for you to actually get to this desired result, you need to schedule a consultation or have a conversation with them. Then you go up here and you change the verbiage and the call to action on your lead generators to a consultation rather than purchasing a product or to hire you as a consultant. So I want you to think through that with your organization and your business, because if you're out there maybe selling something that is thousands of dollars, or maybe you're a real estate agent and you want to get listings, someone isn't going to respond on a social media ad and then say, list my house, right? So instead of that social media ad focusing on, hey, I want to list your house, but not really telling them how, maybe that ad should say, hey, I want to have a 5-minute conversation with you to give you some information or assess what you might be able to get for your property if you put it on the market. Do you see that? Because you're giving value to them, but also you're understanding that what your service is or your product is something that people need to have some time to make a decision on. That is your conversion engine, right? So it's different for all different types of businesses, but this will help you to think about how to advertise, how to message to get you more in this space instead of trying to drive people from here down to here. I do that a lot with ministries too. They're like, well, we need partners. Let's do social media ads for partners. And I'll say, well, it's good to bring awareness, but people give out of a response of being inspired from their heart. So if we just do social media ads that just say, become a partner, donate, but we don't take time to educate them or inspire them or really stir them up with what the vision and mission is, that they can decide if they want to be a part of it, I'm just going to waste a lot of money up here, okay, trying to drive people here, and it's just not going to happen. And in most businesses, unless it's something where maybe it's a restaurant that they stop by to get a hamburger, or maybe you stop by to get a bottle of water, there you certainly don't need to inspire people or have a consultation. But most of us have more of a long-term, we want to, maybe if we own a store, we want them to come to the store based on the service. Most of us have a higher price tag product or service that we need to take the time to understand this. All right. Just a little bit more information on the lead generators that I covered. Again, you'll get this information. The next one I want to talk about briefly is the call to action, and we have covered that somewhat, but as you look at a revenue stream and you build it backwards, you're going to know where you want to drive people to get you in the best position to be able to get them what they need to convert to become a customer. So here's just a few statements, and then what we're going to do is we're going to pause here in just a couple of minutes and we'll take some questions. So with your call to action, your lead generator should be purposeful. What action are you calling for? The Wealth Builders team knows this, like in conversations, it's a frequent thing. It's like, well, what's our call to action? You know, it's a great idea, but what is our call to action? And you'd be surprised how many times people are fuzzy on it or aren't clear. And when you just ask that question, you're able to get people into a situation that they can make a decision whether they want to actually go forward with your desired result. Then once people respond, what do they receive and what information do you need to have to move people interested to the next level? One of the organizations I work with is actually the largest Christian television network in the world. And I was in a meeting the other day and we were talking about this very thing. And that's why I'm saying you can use it anywhere. And one of the things we were working on is increasing our new names, because it's the same thing in any business. If you don't have new people coming in, you're always going to have some attrition. Or if you've got a product or service that people really only buy once, you kind of have to focus on bringing new people in, making sure you're taking care of them when they're here, right? And then as you move them into the revenue stream. And so I was putting together a team and a project plan on building new names, because I was just like, wow, if we don't do this, we're going to end up, down the road wondering what happened. So one of the strategies that we came up with is that a lot of times when someone is new to your organization, instead of you asking someone brand new that just learned about you to give, as I was mentioning, what can we give to them? So we implemented a free book giveaway type strategy. It was in our hand. We have a lot of books that are in our inventory. And so I utilized those to actually give something to people to bring them into the organization. Well, what we did is we started looking at, well, what do people get? So when they respond to this, what comes back to them? And I will tell you, we were just like, oh no. Once we asked the question and we saw what was coming back, we were like, oh, that's terrible. And then we realized, like, oh my gosh, no wonder they weren't going to this next step. And so that's where in here, it's kind of like, oh my goodness, but what are people getting in your organization? You want to pay attention to that and do some research. What do people see and does it work properly? Like I was telling you, my contact forms weren't working. That's a big fail, right? How could anybody even decide to connect with me if I wasn't even able to get their message? So some of the things I just gave as an example, if you have a free download or social media post, something like that, just pay attention to that. And then the conversion destinations, that is where your customers need to go to get to the conversion engine. So I'm like really out of time, but I want to explain this last point to you and we'll take some questions. One of the organizations that we work with is the gentleman is an amazing, brilliant consultant, absolutely brilliant and very busy, right? So there's not a lot of time, like he can't pick up the phone and answer calls or answer emails. So as we were going through and kind of building, how do we get people to the place that they can actually maybe get a consultation, what it's going to require to do business, but it's not creating all this activity that he doesn't have time for. So what we did with that is then with the posts or any of the communication, we were driving them to the website, okay, to the page where then they would fill out the form and give a little bit information. And then we would get back to them to schedule the consultation. So this can be different, but again, I'm just like sharing things with you that's going to help you walk through steps so that you get that desired result. And then finally, and we'll take questions after this, a lot of times, one of the daunting things that people have is they need to build a marketing plan. And it can be daunting, but if you follow the process that I just shared with you, uh, you've actually built the foundation and the core of your marketing plan. And so as you go through this process, you might have to create graphics, do the creative work. And we teach you all of this in the business coaching that we do. We're going to do a business coaching for nonprofits through Wealth Builders and business coaching for profits. We teach you this. And from there, your strategies and your marketing plan actually becomes much more apparent, and it's much easier kind of as a side benefit to actually build that marketing plan. All right. Wow. I feel like I went through a lot of information for you all here. And so, Mike, I'm just going to call in you for a moment as I go in and I check the questions that people have. So I would just love some of you, you're a pastor, you do real estate. I would love some of your insight on this topic.
Well, first of all, Karen, it was really a great teaching. And, I think the biggest thing is just like what you taught everyone is you really have to have a focused approach. So many of us that are leaders, we have a shotgun approach, and it just scatters and so much is wasted. But so being focused and knowing exactly what to do to get the best results, because we all have a limited amount of time. We all have a certain amount of money. And so the more focused we are, and the more ideas that we know that will attract people, to cause revenue streams to come in, to cause growth. I mean, that is just amazing teaching. And, I've never heard your story about your corporate office, Karen. That just excited me to know that you've got this nice little office and you've got this great property in Florida, and you can go there to take breaks, but it's also making you money. Oh my gosh, Karen, that's just phenomenal. That's a great story.
Gosh, Mike, thank you so much. This way of thinking was not anything I grew up with. And when you start to think kind of like what Robert Kiyosaki teaches, right? Rich Man, Poor Man,
Yep.
and Billy T, like you look at things different. And then you bring professionals around you that are good at what they do. And it's astounding. Like I'm just like anything I look at now, I'm just thinking like, all right, what can we do to get a revenue stream going, right?
It's great. And that's the will of God, Karen, because
It
God
is.
wants us to prosper. And I think for decades and even longer that people, they would just know, I know God wants me to prosper. I believe in that. And nothing ever happened. But I think now there's an eye-opening experience for the church, for the people of God, that not only do we know it's the will of God, but we are putting our hand to something that is actually causing us to prosper. So it's great.
Awesome. All right, we've got a few questions here, so I'm going to get through as many as we can. Sandra is on, and Sandra, I hope I pronounce your name right. I want to say Norum. Hopefully that's right. Thank you for being on tonight. And your question is, do you have a value proposition template that's been filled out? Yes, I have like dozens, I think. And so I'm sorry, for some reason I didn't have that in the PowerPoint, but here's what I'll do is I will go locate one of the value propositions and I will put that in this example in the PowerPoint so that you all can see it. So hopefully that will be helpful for you. Also, I just want to encourage you guys, we are going to be going through all of this in detail at the business workshop. Now I've got something really special coming up for you that I'm going to give you a sneak peek on. And that is the end of this week, we are actually doing a one-day flash sale on the live stream. Okay. And it's over 20 hours of teaching. And it's best in person because we get to talk to you. We love that, don't we, Mike? And Billy and Becky absolutely love to hug your neck and talk to you. There's just nothing like it. But the live stream, if you can't make it to Denver, is second best, and we definitely communicate with you throughout the live stream, but over 20 hours of teaching. We have Q&A that will include the live stream and in person. And then also with that, you're able to watch the live stream for 3 weeks after the event.
Wow.
So anyway, you'll learn much more about this. And actually, I think Billy is teaching on value proposition. He is the best at it. So you'll learn a lot more at that event. If you want to learn more about it, go to wealthbuilders.org/events. All right, we've got Shanda Levy. I hope I pronounced that right as well. Where can I get access to some of these resources, such as professionals that can assist with maximizing revenue? Well, that's a great question. We will be providing this webinar and information as resources. I've already mentioned the event, which is going to be great. But we also have products that are available through Wealth Builders that helps through this. And we are going to be offering coaching in the area of business. I'm going to be really active with that. I lead the coaching for Wealth Builders, and Mike is part of the coaching team with real estate. But with business, we're really excited. We're rolling out something new that we've never done before. So if you're really looking, like you say, Karen, I've got to nail this and it's time to get my business to the next level, that's really the best. But also we've got Wealth Builders University. That's what I think is like the best kept secret. And I have a series in there called Ignite your vision, ignite your marketing, and ignite your results. And a lot of the information that I covered tonight, some of that is in there. It's just $299 a year. It's a platform that Billy and Becky put together. It includes a monthly live mastermind call with a coach, and it's dozens of courses with multiple lessons in each course. So I would check that out. That's going to give you a lot of the PowerPoints and the templates with these things, and you will be totally blessed by that. So you can go to wbuniversity.online. All right. And then Sandra says, thank you. I have one more question. I'm an instructional designer. I create digital training materials for real estate professional certification through my company, BOMI International. Sandra, we might need to chat. I want to create a second stream of income with my skill set by taking content, podcasts, YouTube's, videos from coaches, consultants, and turn it into digital courses. How can I ensure my skill set is valuable for this demographic, and where could I market my skill set? Wow, Sandra, that's really awesome. I do think that there is a demand for that because there's a way teaching and putting digital courses together has a different mindset and approach to it. It's almost like you have to have a little bit of that teacher education. And so I think that there would definitely be a place for that. And I think it's valuable if people have the revelation of what we talked about tonight. A lot of people just go do their job and they don't understand that there could be a revenue stream on the other side. But to market your skill, there's all different ways. I mean, we'll talk about the marketing too. It's tough to cover in this, but there's a lot of ways to market digitally that you can be very pointed with who you're trying to approach, with understanding and identifying your target market. But also what I like to do, this is something that Billy teaches us, is if I am hunting for a moose, he uses this, he's a hunter, where does my moose eat? Where does my moose sleep? Where do they go shopping? Where do they hang out? Whatever. So that mentality is very helpful. And one of the things that I learned for home staging, once I realized the real estate agent was actually my main target market, I took that approach that Billy taught and I put together a continuing education class, and I started teaching a course for real estate agents. I then had a direct pathway to the moose, right, that I was going for. And I was also an expert. So because you're a little bit in that space, Sandra, you might want to look at that, offering a continuing education. It's really easy to get it approved. They give you the structure. I don't know what state you're in. And then you might be able to reach the very people as an expert. And it's an amazing way to get leads. Oh my goodness. All right. I need to move on. We're about out of time. You can tell I love this topic. All right. F. Gorham says, what qualifies as a nonprofit real estate business, or is that such a thing? It is such a thing. And there's a way for you to set that up. There's different parameters that you need to follow. And Dan Dyer is one of the best at that. Mike is nodding his head. He just did our coaching call actually yesterday, but he runs part of his real estate investments in his nonprofit. It's not a quick answer. It's something that you have to get with people that know what they're doing. But it is definitely a viable thing. And so we've got a real estate workshop coming up in October. So that might be something for you to take a look at and register for, and see if you can't connect him and Bill Bronchek, who is our attorney. They would be able to help you with that, at least at a high level. But also, Mike, I just thought of this. This is part of what we're covering in the business workshop, because what we want to focus on is, and my husband's actually teaching on this, is we want to help nonprofits find revenue streams to fund their ministry in addition to donations. And Dave, my husband, he works for Gateway Church. He travels the world, and he did this for Bethel as well. This is literally what he does, and he is going to be teaching and training on it. And real estate is a part of that. So you don't want to miss that. That would be really good. That's at the event on the 19th through the 21st. Danielle Brown. Hello, Danielle. If your small business sells multiple products, do you need a conversion engine for each product? Asking because it appears that the desired result would be different. Well, it depends, because if you've got products and maybe, like I just always put myself in your shoes. I have multiple products, right? I don't have multiple websites. Well, actually I have 3 websites, but for the most part, the store is in one place. So the conversion engine of maybe getting to the shop or the store can be in one place, but the pathways that lead up all the way to the lead generators needs to be different. So I have some more complex products and services that I can't just dump you into my shop, right? I need to have a place before you get to the shop where we have a conversation. And then once you decide, yep, Karen, I want to go with that, I can send you to the shop. So it's identifying the different areas. You can have one conversion engine, in many cases, even a call center that handles all the calls. But as you build that funnel up with a value proposition and your lead generators and even potentially your calls to action, that to me is where more of your differentiators would be. I hope that answered your question. All right. And then one more question here. Another question from Chanda. I'm new to your platform. Can you share more on the upcoming workshop? Yes, I would love to. So this upcoming workshop is called Business Development and Nonprofit Workshop. We have at Wealth Builders done business workshops, but this is completely retooled in that we've got 2 tracks for you on Saturday. One is for nonprofits and one is for for-profits. So we have a biblical foundation for everything that we do. And Billy and Becky are committed to wisdom and knowledge. Okay. If I have knowledge of how to move forward, I need that. And he actually teaches that wisdom comes after knowledge. So you need practical knowledge, and you need that connection and that spiritual foundation with God. And we'll unpack a lot more of that. But the way that the event works, we start on Friday. So we go Friday night, we have a sessions, Q&A. Saturday morning, we do something called speed coaching, and we joke, it's not speed dating. It's speed coaching. For those of you that are in person, the coaches meet with people one-on-one to have a conversation with you so that we can actually give you personal advice in a manageable time frame. Then we do sessions in the morning joint. We do the workshops in the afternoon. And then Sunday morning, Mike Davis is going to get us all fired up with a teaching he has called Supernatural Business. We'll continue that teaching and training, and then we'll end early afternoon on Sunday. So we do real estate workshops, we do business workshops, we actually sometimes do investment workshops, and then everything that we do is helping you build wealth God's way. So I hope that is helpful for you. All right. Well, you guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Again, to find out more about the upcoming workshop, go to wealthbuilders.org/events. We would love to see you. I would love to talk to you personally. So if you can get there in person, we have a few tickets left, but I'm telling you, it's pretty limited. And so please act on that in person now. And then if you want to do live stream, watch your email Friday for a very, very special live stream offer for you. All right. Well, thank you so much, Mike. Thank you for being a part of this tonight with everybody. God bless you and have
Bless-
an awesome night.
Amen.